Hello everyone, this is part 34 of What If Naruto Came Back to Claim His Family's Name, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Alright, Kushina, you have made it into the finals, so go up and rest because you have a bye round. Fugaku, come down here for your match, said Kankuro as Kushina turned away and walked toward the stairs. She stopped as Fugaku appeared at the bottom of the stairs. Fugaku, be careful, this guy is crazy, said Kushina. I will be, said Fugaku. Great job on getting to the finals. Now you get some rest, I want to face you at your best. And I want to see you alive at the end of this, just be careful, said Kushina as she walked up the stairs. She stood in the box watching her teammate and the ice ninja stand across from each other. Alright you two, begin, said Kankuro as both of the genin charged forward, swords drawn. For a while, they just traded sword swipes and jabs. Great fireball jutsu, yelled Fugaku as a fireball engulfed Reiji. For a moment, Fugaku stood watching the flames until two kunai came flying out of the flames. Fugaku blocked the incoming kunai with his sword. Slowly, out of the flames walked Reiji, untouched from the flames. This is nothing, said Reiji as Fugaku turned on his black Sharingan and looked Reiji in the eyes. Suddenly the world changed and everything was black and white. This is the Mangekyo world, said Fugaku with a grin. Here I control everything, including space and time. You are not the true master of space and time, said Reiji as he too started walked around. Although this world is interesting, you know it is strange, of all the people in this tournament you wanted to fight the most. Why? Asked Fugaku. I saw what you did to the other boy last match, you had to see into his mind, so why not look into mine? Said Reiji. I don't have to. More than likely you don't want to because he found out the great weakness of your Sharingan. You see into minds and inside a person's mind they have complete control, said Reiji. I would also assume that he showed you something that made you upset, and I would bet it had to do with your blonde teammate, Kushina Namikaze. Shut up, yelled Fugaku as suddenly everything changed and now Reiji was up on a cross. I see that I was right, but what could he have imagined with her in it that would cause you to try and kill your best friend? Said Reiji as he looked at Fugaku as if nothing was happening. Her death. I said shut up, yelled Fugaku as his Sharingan spun so fast it was a blur. No, too easy, said Reiji before he grinned. How about her being with someone besides you? Yelled Fugaku as he swung his sword. However suddenly it was Fugaku tied to a cross and Reiji was standing on the sand. You fool, you let emotions guide you, said Reiji as he looked up at Fugaku. How did you do that? Asked a wide-eyed Fugaku. I have been through things much worse than this little world, said Reiji as he espied Fugaku in the chest. Fugaku screamed in pain as his blood ran down Reiji's sword. It is too bad that since this is your world I can't kill you, but then again I can have some fun anyway. It's my world so I can still destroy it, said Fugaku as creaks appeared throughout the world before it broke apart like glass, returning everything to the real world. The moment it did, Fugaku fell to one knee, with his sword tip in the sand, breathing heavily, and a hand on his chest where Reiji's sword used to be. Dad, what happened? Asked Liz. I don't know, said Sasuke. I still don't know how you can defeat my black Sharingan, but I don't need it to defeat you, said Fugaku as he stood back up and bite his thumb before running through hand signs. Summon jutsu. With that, a cloud of smoke filled the air. You gave him it, didn't you? Asked Ino as a huge figure started to move in the smoke. Yep, said Sasuke as the smoke cleared to show a huge black snake with red tiger strips was wrapped around the edges of the arena. Fugaku was standing on top of its head looking down at Reiji. Allow me to introduce Mao, said Fugaku as a forked tongue hissed out of the snake's mouth. What do you require of me, young master? Asked Mao. Well, I need to beat this guy, and I thought you may want some food, said Fugaku as the snake's glowing yellow eyes looked down at Reiji. He looks small but he will make a good snack, hissed Mao as he opened his mouth and his head snapped forward as suddenly Reiji disappeared. Where did he go? Well, I am impressed, said Reiji as Fugaku turned around to see him standing just a few feet away. Suddenly, Reiji pulled out his sword and jabbed it deep into Mao's head. Mao hissed in pain as he thrashed before disappearing in a puff of smoke. Kushina and everyone else watched as Fugaku started to fall toward the ground. There was nothing he could grab onto. Crap. Though Fugaku as he dove into his ninja pouch and whipped out a kunai and some chakra string. I hope this works. With that, he threw his kunai deep into the far wall. He swung down, letting his feet hit the wall fist. The moment they did, he spun his head around only to see Reiji standing there. Fugaku let go of the string and used his chakra to hold himself to the wall and pulled his sword back out. He placed it in one arm and bent the other so that it was on his elbow. Electricity danced around him before running down his sword's blade. His sword turned blue as electricity ran up and down the length of the blade. Good, son, thought Sasuke with pride as he watched his son finish the Chidori. With that, Fugaku ran down the wall. Dust and sand flew up in his wake as he charged toward Reiji. Chidori, yelled Fugaku as he jabbed his sword forward. However, just before impact Reiji brought his sword around and with a mighty clash. Fugaku's sword snapped in two, breaking the Chidori. Fugaku jumped back and looked at his broken weapon, the one that his great-grandfather Yamanaka used during the Second Ninja War. Fugaku looked back up only to see that Reiji was gone. The next thing he knew, he had a sword's blade coming down at his face. Reacting as fast as possible, he threw his weapon away and grabbed the sides of the sword with his hands, using what little chakra he had left to form a barrier between his hands and the blade. Still, the momentum of the blade forced him to his knees. Say goodbye, said Reiji as he twisted the sword and pulled it around. Kushina and others flinched as Fugaku let out a scream of pain as all the top skin from his right hand was yanked away. While this was happening, Reiji's sword was coming back around, this time for Fugaku's head. Stop, yelled Kankuro as Reiji's sword stopped as a small trickle of blood came from a small cut in the middle edge of his en. You win, Reiji, you're in the finals. You're lucky this day, said Reiji as he placed his sword away as the medics rushed out to look at Fugaku. Alright then, the finals will begin 1 hour from now and will between Kushina Namikaze and Reiji of the Ice, said Kankuro as he looked up at where the Uchihas, Namikazes and Inazukis sat. He nodded his head and in an instant Ino was at her son's side. I am sorry, mother, said Fugaku as he was laid down on the stretcher, his arm held up against his chest. You have nothing to be sorry for, son, said Ino as she gently moved her son's hand so that she could see what had happened to her son. She looked down at his hands and saw the extent of the damage done. The skin was completely gone. She could see the muscles and nerve endings and at the very top of each finger the bonds were visible. Luckily it seemed like the other hand had next to no injuries. Quickly Ino reached into her pouch and pulled out a pill and placed it into her son's mouth. Take this, it should ease the pain. Ino started to work on his hand just when Sasuke appeared. Hey, Dad, said Fugaku as Sasuke bent down. Hey, son, said Sasuke as he held up his son's broken sword and placed it on his chest. Here, I thought you would want this back. Thanks, Dad, said Fugaku with a smile as his father smiled back. You did great, son, said Sasuke. I didn't let you down, asked Fugaku as Sasuke shook his head. Far from it, son, you exceeded even my expectations. We are so proud of you, said Sasuke, although, your sister is a little upset at you for hurting Kib. She will just have to deal with it, said Fugaku with a grin before wincing in pain. We have to take him to the hospital now, said a sand medic. Sasuke, stay with the kids, I will go with Fugaku, said Ino as Sasuke nodded. Meanwhile, Kushina stood with her mother and father in the small tunnel leading out of the arena. Naruto had removed his Hokage hat. Dad, I am not so sure I want to fight Reiji, he just beat Fugaku, said Kushina. Yeah, he did, said Naruto, and if you feel like you can't fight him and win, it won't look bad. One thing a ninja has to learn is when to run. You already did better than I did at my first exams. Dad, yours and Mom's first exam was interrupted by an attack by the sound, said Kushina, who shut up as Fugaku came by being carried away. Stop, ordered Fugaku as he sat up a bit to look at Kushina. Fugaku, are you alright? Asked Kushina. I will be fine, you should be worrying about your match, not me, said Fugaku. Now look, Reiji favors attacks from the right, so keep an extra eye on that. You should be getting to the hospital, said Kushina. Hospital can wait, said Fugaku. He is fast, so be ready with your Hiraishin no Jutsu. I will now go to the hospital, you baka, ordered Kushina as she pushed Fugaku back down so that he was lying down. Fine, I'll go, but kick his ass, said Fugaku as they started carrying him away again. How bad is it, Ino? Whispered Sakura so neither Kushina nor Fugaku could hear. Bad, answered Ino with watery eyes. His life isn't in danger, but he will never get full feeling back in that hand. Once Kushina's match is over, I will go look at him, said Sakura. Yeah, you stay here. Who knows what that Reiji kid will do next, said Ino as she glanced at Reiji standing there before the ice cage. You did well, son, said the ice cage. Thank you, my lord, said Reiji. Now, finish your mission, said the cage. Yes, sir. Also, make sure you call him out, said the cage. I will. So, Kushina, have you decided? Asked Naruto. Yeah, I am going to fight him, said Kushina as she glared at Reiji. Kushina looked at Reiji from across the field as Kankuro stood in between them. Alright, this is the final round. Congratulations to you two for making it this far. Now Kushina, are you ready? Yes, said Kushina. Reiji, are you ready? Asked Kankuro. Yes, said Reiji. Alright, begin, said Kankuro as Kushina disappeared in a flash of light. She appeared just behind Reiji with a kunai in hand. Reiji spun around and grabbed Kushina's arm and threw her over his shoulder. When Kushina was flying through the air, Mai launched her attack. Fire danced around Mai's entire body as she tried to hit Reiji, however she could never get close to him as a gust of wind would fling him back. A pretty good idea, thought Sasuke as Kushina and Mia kept up her constant assault on Reiji as 3 clones tried to punch Reiji's lights out. While Anther 2 clones tried to hit Reiji with kunais at a distance. However, you can't keep it up forever. Finally, one of Kushina's clones' fists impacted Reiji's face, sending him flying backwards into the wall. Alright now, yelled one of the clones as all 5 clones gathered together before charging at Reiji, who had just appeared out of the hole. Reiji dodged Kushina's attack. Alright, I grow tired of this, said Reiji as he punched one of the Kushina. Kushina's face bent under the impact as the 4 other clones disappeared. How did you know I was the real one? Asked Kushina as a small amount of blood ran down her chin. Please, I always knew which was the real you, said Reiji. Well, I think it's time for me to go on the assault. With that, Reiji ran through hand signs as the sky above turned into a dark cloud. Ice Rain Jutsu. Kushina's eyes widened as dark shapes formed inside the cloud. Suddenly spears of ice came shooting out of the cloud toward Kushina, who rolled across the sand to avoid those ice spears hitting just behind her. My, now, yelled Kushina as again a dome of demon fire surrounded Reiji. Kushina stood back up as the cloud above her head disappeared. We got him trapped now. No one can stand against this type of demon fire, said Mai as she appeared next to Kushina. However, suddenly the fire roared even hotter as suddenly a figure appeared through the flames. It can't be. Yes, it can, said Reiji as he walked through the flames without a mark on him. Well, if you can't burn, looks like I will just have to beat you senseless, said Kushina as she disappeared in a flash of light before reappeared just above him, her foot coming down. Please, said Reiji as he went to block Kushina's foot, only suddenly a curved blade shot out of the bottom of Kushina's boot. There was no time to react if the blade found its mark. It went deep into Reiji's lower arm. The instant it went in, Kushina twisted her body so that she could place her hands on the sand. Her other foot released another blade that went in on the other side of Reiji's badly twisted arm. Using her hands, she spun her body again, this time forcing Reiji into the air. Then she focused some chakra into the release machines for her hidden blades in her boats that held both blades out of Reiji's arm. However, it wasn't the end. The force that Reiji had from being in the air sent him flying into the wall once again. When that was done, Kushina jumped back to her feet. We don't have much chakra left, said Inner Kushina. I know, I may have the ability for one more Rasengan, but after that I am done, said Kushina as Reiji once again appeared. Blood ran down his arm and a large chunk was missing. You are better than I though, Kushina Namikaze, said Reiji as he looked at Mai and Kushina. You shouldn't underestimate people, said Kushina. You are right, but I believe it is time for me to finish my mission, said Reiji as he took some of his blood from the wound. What mission? Asked Kushina as Reiji smiled. You will see. Summoning jutsu, said Reiji as he ran through hand signs. Suddenly a large round black hole appeared next to Reiji. With that everyone watched as a black spinning hole appeared next to him. What type of summon is that? Asked Sakura. I have no idea, said Naruto just before a figure walked out of the hole. It made all the Namikaze's eyes widened because there stood an all-black fox with glowing red eyes and a single black tail swished back and forth. So this is my daughter of weakling nine-tailed Kyuubi, said the fox. I don't know who you are, but you better respect my dad, said Mai as the fox grinned, showing off its shiny teeth. My lord is far above your father and his council, said the fox. See, I am Saito, son of Lord Sakito. I know all the lords on the council and your father isn't on it, said Mai with a grin. Suddenly Saito started laughing. I wouldn't believe you know him because he is the great-grandson of Satomi the 10-tailed quantum fox, said Saito as Naruto looked to his side to look at the Kyuubi to see if it was true. The Kyuubi didn't have to say a word, the look said it all. Kyuubi had a look of pure terror. He wasn't moving, just looking at the black fox. There is no such thing as a 10-tailed fox, said Kushina. Shut up, foolish human. I will let the foolish Kyuubi fill you on the details, said Saito before he looked up at the Kyuubi. I give you notice, we are free. As such, we will start again in 4 years' time. Do you understand, Kyuubi? Yes, I do, said Kyuubi back down. Good. Until then, Kyuubi. With that, Saito turned to leave through the hole. Wait, aren't you going to help me win this fight? Asked Reiji. His answer came in the form of the fox's tail whipping around, cutting Reiji's arm almost off. Kankuro and several medics ran in to save his life as the fox spoke up again. No, foolish human, said Saito, you have served your purpose. Stop, yelled Kyuubi as he appeared in a ball of flames in front of Saito. What do you want? I want to know, how are you free? After all this time, how? Asked Kyuubi as Saito grinned. You should thank those foolish humans from the ice village. They uncover the seal allowing us to return, said Saito before looking up at the ice cage. Oh, by the way, human, I wouldn't bother returning to your home. It is already destroyed. What? We had a deal. We free you and we would rule the human world, you the demon world. Yelled the ice cage. Why rule one when we can so easy have them both? Said Saito as he looked up at the ice cage. His eyes flashed black as a second black hole opened below the cage. He had no time to react, he was pulled down into nothingness. The moment he fell, the opening closed. Well, I must be going now, until we meet again. With that, he walked into the opening and disappeared. Dad, what is happening? Asked Mai as she looked her dad. Mai, stay with your mother, there are things I need to do, said Kyuubi as he disappeared in a ball of flames. Sakura, what is happening? Asked Naruto as Sakura, the 8-tailed demon fox of wind, snapped out of a blank stare she had been doing as she sat next to Sakura. Kyuubi went to inform the demon council that the quantum foxes have returned, said Sakura. Who are the quantum foxes? Asked Sakura as Sakura looked up at her. They are the most powerful demon type ever to be. They control space and time itself and are far above Kyuubi or any other foxes, said Sakura. What happened to them? Asked Naruto as Sakura lowered her head. There was a war. The last great demon war, said Sakura. Kyuubi-kun's great-grandfather and the rest of the council at the time waged a war against the quantum foxes. So you guys won, said Naruto as Sakura shook her fox head. No, we lost, said Sakura as Naruto raised an eyebrow. If you lost, then why are still alive? Asked Sakura. Maybe lost wasn't the right word. All hope was lost, we were up against the ropes as you humans put it. Then a bold plan was put into effect. It would either work and defeat the quantum foxes or kill every demon fox, said Sakura. What? Asked Naruto. It is actually something you will find filmier, Naruto. Kyuubi's great-grandfather used a seal to trap all the quantum foxes in their own world apart from all others at the cost of his own life. The seal was lost through the ages, apparent somehow it has been opened. And now they have fulfilled their part according to the old code, said Sakura. What did they do? Asked Gaara, and why did Kyuubi have to inform this demon council so fast? He went to inform the council that we have only 4 years to prepare, answered Sakura. Prepare for what? War, Naruto, said Sakura as Naruto's eyes widened along with everyone else in earshot. War? Asked Sakura, making sure she heard right. Fox. Sakura nodded her head. Yes, a demon fox war. The likes that haven't been seen in over 32 million years, said Sakura. So 4 years from now a war will begin? Asked Gaara. Yes, but you humans can't fight, said Sakura. You heard him, they want to rule this world. Sooner we'll bow to no one, said Gaara. You can fight, but it will be of no use. A demon is immortal and impervious to all your attacks, said Sakura. I can't believe I am going to say this, how about sealing them, like my dad sealed the QB in me? Asked Naruto as Sakura shook her head again. No, the only reason why that worked in the first place was because QB-kun was mental affected by my death. Any normal demon fox would have seen the building up of chakra and had placed his own seal protecting himself, said Sakura. So there is nothing we can do? Asked Sakura. There is one thing, said Fox. Sakura. What? Pray that we win, because if we lose the human world will be destroyed along with ours, said Sakura. Naruto flew backwards as a black tail sent him flying into what remained of the outer walls of the Hidden Leaf village. Dad, yelled Kushina as she and Fugaku fought off another of the demon fox attacks. In the distance she could just make out Kyubi at his full size, only instead of fighting he was on the ground and a black fox with 10 tails was taking bites out of him. In the distance she could hear the screams as her home village was being destroyed by the enemy foxes. Kushina, Fugaku, said Naruto weakly as the foxes got closer. Get out of here, it's over, we lost, save yourself, said Naruto as one of the smaller foxes leaped out and out his tea. Dad, yelled Kushina as she sat up in her bed, sweat running down her face and causing her orange top to stick to her body. Just a dream. As she moved some of her hair aside she noticed the cloak. 8:30, well I have to be in my dad's office at 10, might as well get ready now, said Kushina to herself as she got out of her bed starched. In the almost 4 years since the Chunin exams she had grown into almost a perfect match of her mother when she was 16, only she was an inch taller and her blonde out of pink hair was longer, reaching her mid-back. She didn't know how long she spent in the shower, but when she did emerge she heard a loud pounding on the door. Kushina, will you hurry it up? Yelled 8-year-old Saya from the other side of the bathroom door. I will be out soon, yelled Kushina back. A few minutes later she was in her room getting dressed. Her clothing had changed a lot over the years, however she always had something orange. Instead of her shorts she wore a jean and she had orange pants like her father did at her age. Only she had her headband tied around her right leg. Next she put on her sleeveless shirt, a darker shade of orange with fish netting on the top part around her end, with much to her father's announce showing her upper back. She looked into the mirror to make sure everything was in place. We look great, said Ina Kushina as Kushina adjusted her headband. Well, Liz said that I could get any guy in the village if they weren't afraid of Dad doing something to them, said Kushina as she put on her long gloves. Like you would want them, I know of only one guy we want, said Ina Kushina with a pervert grin. As Kushina's eyes fell on the picture of her team and her crush Fugaku Uchiha. Kushina, breakfast, yelled her now ninja brother Altair from the other side of the door. Coming, yelled Kushina as she reached for her Chunin vest only to slap her head. Idiot, you get your Chunin vest today, you only need the scrolls and tools. With that Kushina pulled out the scrolls and her medical tools from the vest and put it into one of the many protects she had in her pants. It took less a minute to get to the table just as her dad was putting some pancakes onto her plate. So Dad, when will you give us our first mission? Asked Altair. I already did, said Naruto as he sat down in front of his plate. I wouldn't call finding a missing cat a mission, said Altair. At least you had a cat, my team had to clean a park, said Minuto. Don't worry, you'll get your time eventual, said Kushina, if we live through this demon war. I will send both your teams out on a mission as soon as your senseis think you're ready and a mission come along, said Naruto as he drank some more orange juice. Now I am going to take Saya to school. Dad, I am 8, I don't need you to walk with me to school, said Saya. True, but I want to, said Naruto. As for you 3, you all have places to be. Your mother had to work the night shift, so be quiet. Sure thing, Dad, said Minuto as he put on his headband by using his glass as a mirror to make sure it was straight. Both Namikaze's boys dressed almost identical. The only real difference was the fact that Minuto always wore red while Altair wore blue. They even had their headbands in those colors. Both of them ran off to meet with their teams. Their two teams had already been nicknamed the Nami Yuki Nara because both teams were made out of the Namikas and Uchiha boys and two of the Nara girls. The third Nara triplet, Tora, had decided that she didn't want to be a combat ninja. Instead, she wants to raise the clan's deers. Don't worry, you'll get this, said Kushina. Rolled her eyes before making two clones to help her clear the table. When she was finished, she looked at the cloak. 9:50, might as well get going, thought Kushina before she disappeared in a flash of light and reappeared just outside her dad's office. Already standing there were other two teammates. Liz was dressed in her normal outfit. It matched what her mother wore at her age. A purple shelves top with the Uchiha sign on its back and that showed a good portion of her stomach. Kushina never thought it possible, but Liz had grown her already long hair down even more until it touched her waist. She also had on tight black shorts with a purple skirt over them. The only real difference was the fact that she had a belt hanging across her waist which she hung her sword from. About time you got her, Kushina, said Liz. I am here and on time, said Kushina as she turned her gaze to the male part of their team who was standing a little bit back. He was dressed in black pants, the same type as Kushina, he thin messed grey shirt, and over it all he had a black coat which to Kushina's joy was open at the moment, letting her see his chest. He wore only one glove over the hand which covered his scare-covered hand. His newly reforged sword was strapped to his back. Final was the last person being promoted today, stood across from Fugaku. Kib Inuzuka had on black pants and a jacket that he had pulled up all the way. The jacket had on silver color fur on all the edges. Kib smiled, showing off his slightly pointed teeth. Well, look who's finally here. Fugaku turned his head and looked at Kushina before shrugging his shoulders before looking back at the wall. I wonder why he has been acting so cold recently, thought Kushina. Just ask him out and you'll find out, said Ina Kushina as the door opened to the Hokage's office and out walked Kinkura. The Hokage is ready to see you, said Kinkura before returning her desk to look over paperwork. Kushina, Liz, Fugaku and Kib walked into Naruto's office to see Naruto sitting at his desk and in front of him were 4 Junin vests. Fugaku Uchiha, Liz Uchiha, Kushina Namikaze and Kib Inuzuka, all 4 have passed all parts of your own Junin exams 2 years before most people, including all your parents. I am so proud of all 4 of you, even though it makes me feel very old. Now are you ready to sever your village's Junin? Yes, sir, said Liz, Fugaku and Kib. Instead of that, Kushina responded with, yes, Dad. All right then, take up your vests, said Naruto as they all took a vest. It was easy for Kushina to find her vest because it was different than all the rest. Her vest was white with a small red cross on the sides and a larger one on her back because she was now a medical ninja. It was an unofficial rule that medical personnel aren't supposed to be targeted, but just in case their jackets were extra armored. Thank you, Dad, said Kushina as she put on her vest, pulling up her hair so that it was behind her new vest. When she turned to leave, Naruto suddenly spoke up. Where do you think you're going? Asked Naruto. Well, maybe do some light training and then have lunch, said Kushina as Naruto nodded his head. Well, if you're going anywhere you'll need this, said Naruto as he reached into his desk and pulled out a small box and threw it at his daughter, who caught it. Is this what I think it is? Asked Kushina. You earned it, said Naruto as Kushina opened the box to show a jacket just like her mother and father has. Only hers was white like her mother's, but with orange flames around the edges like her dad's. Cool, said Liz as Kushina put it on. So what do you guys think? Asked Kushina as she turned around and her heart fell. Fugaku was gone. Only Liz and Kib remained. Looking good, for a fox brat, said Kib with a grin before he too left. Come on, Kushina, let's go find my stupid brother, said Liz. Meanwhile, Rick lied down in a small bunker he had dug in the Snowvault office overlooking what remained of the ice village. It was a bunch of twisted metal caped with snow. A few human beings could still be seen. The only thing that was moving were some black foxes guarding a high gate that was inside a sheet of ice. The doors of the gates were wide open to show a spinning pool of black energy. Nothing yet, said Rick. That's good, instant it, said one of Naruto massager foxes. Yes, said Rick as suddenly a knock came from the hidden door. Rick opened the hatch as another ninja hoped down into the warmer bunker. Anything yet? Said the sand ninja. No. Looks like you are going to have a fun mouth because 2 weeks from now is when the timetable opens for those foxes to attack, said Rick as he gathered his things. So 2 weeks from now, we will be at war, said the sand ninja as Rick shook his head. No, said Rick, according to the old rules of war for the foxes, once the 4-year warning passes, the war can begin at any time. It may not even happen until we are long and gone. Let's hope, said the sand ninja as Rick opened the hatch and started the long march back to the hidden boats, one of which would bring him back home. Sometimes I can't understand your thinking, said Kib as he leaned against a large tree as his best friend sat above him in the tree. What do you want, Kib? Asked Fugaku. I want to talk to you about Kushina, said Kib as he looked up at him. What about her? Why in the world don't you talk to her? Everyone can see it as plain as day. She loves you, said Kib. Is there a point you're getting at? Is that I know you love her, and if she loves you and you love her, what is the problem? Said Kib. I don't love her or even like her, yelled Fugaku. Yes, you do. It is your biggest weakness. That is why you will not use your black Sharingan on me, because all I have to do is think about something happening to her and it causes you pain, said Kib as Fugaku jumped down to look his friend in the eye. Pain? I am always in pain, said Fugaku as he pulled off his glove to show his scare-covered hand. All I don't feel anything. Put that in this hand. Just because you are in pain doesn't mean you can't love her, said Kib. I am in pain because of her. It was the fact that Reiji figured out what you did that he was able to beat me, said Fugaku as he reached into his vest and pulled out some pain cure pills before taking them. Hell, I have to take pain cures just to keep working as a ninja. So your mom is a mind walker. She can teach you how to stop that from happening, said Kib. I asked my mom and she said there is now a way that she knows how to stop that from happening again, is to remove the weakness, said Fugaku as Kib raised an eyebrow. Somehow I don't see your mom saying you have to stop loving someone in order to protect yourself, said Kib. I never told her it was Kushina. I told her that I was afraid of Itachi coming back, said Fugaku as Kib rolled his eyes. Well, if you're never going to date her, you might as well tell her. I have seen her being asked out by a lot of boys and every time she says no, said Kib. At least let her move on with her life without you. Fugaku flinched. See, even the thought of her with someone else makes your blood boil, so just suck it up and do us all a favor, asks her out. With that, Kib walked away. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.